Alright, in this video, we're actually going to start bringing our game to life by sketching the player character. So I'll create a new Photoshop file and grab a simple hard round brush that I'll set to a grey color. And again, you can use any free 2D application that you like. You don't precisely need Photoshop to follow along. Now, before starting to draw on your canvas, you should have an idea, either just in your head or written down on paper, of what you would like to create. Are you making a monstrous enemy or a mighty hero, a playable character or a static NPC? What's the story behind this character? What will he needs to be doing in-game? Must he talk, attack, run and walk? In my case, I'm going to be sketching out a player character, so I'll do just that, doodling away, keeping all the lines rough and loose. At this point, don't worry about detail or clean outlines, just try your best to come up with an interesting design. I usually like keeping my player character simple, with not too much detail, because I know I'll then need to be animating it. So obviously, the more complex the visuals, the more difficult and time-consuming the animation process will be. Now, when it comes down to 2D animation, there are two main methods one can go about using. Either frame-by-frame animation, which consists in drawing the entire character in slightly different positions on multiple frames, kind of like an animation flipbook, or the bone-based method. Now, there's no doubt that frame-by-frame is very time-consuming, and in my opinion, a lot harder to pull off. However, you'll have a lot more freedom exaggerating the character's proportions, changing his shape, and animating effects like fire, water, smoke, and the like. With the bone-based method, which is the main animation technique we will be using throughout the course, you need only draw the character once. However, you'll have to make sure to draw each body part you wish to animate independently from the rest on a separate layer. This way you can then move, rotate, and scale it without the rest of the body moving, rotating, and scaling as well. With that said, when sketching out your character, keep in mind that each body part will have to be drawn on a separate layer. So to recap, when sketching your character, note well that you're making this for a game. Remember, you'll need to be animating it and that he'll be moving around a game world. I'm drawing lots of small, compact looking game characters with very big heads and ridiculously small bodies, partly because I really like the look of those type of designs, but also due to the fact that I'm coming up with ideas for a player that will be in a top-down shooter game, meaning he'll have to dodge tight spots and enemy projectiles. If I made a long, bony hero, then dodging will be all the more difficult because he's occupying more space in the game world. So yeah, as you can see, the sketching process is very important. It's where all these little tricky decisions are made. Do I want my character to be small and fast, so he's got a good chance at dodging hazards? Will that fit in the game story? Because of course your player character, which is the design the player will stare most at while he's playing, must fit in your game world from a story and visual point of view. The player is actually the very first thing I draw when making a game. So it's also at this point that I'm wondering which style I want for my game. Will I go for something colorful and cartoony, or painterly and dark? Now, try coming up with the most visual ideas as possible. Don't fixate on one in particular for more than 5 minutes. Just draw and draw and draw some more. The saying that your very first ideas are usually the worst ones is often true. Your first drawings and designs will tend to be your worst ones, so flush them out your system fast. Get your creative juices flowing and come up with cool, interesting characters. If you lack inspiration, I highly recommend you search internet. Look at pictures of people or animals that come closest to what you're trying to make. For example, if you're wanting to create a massive, scary ocean monster, then search up sharks, killer whales, and so on. If you want to add a hint of fantasy to the mix, then also look up some epic dragon pictures, and then use all that reference material to come up with your own original creation. Now again, in this course we will be making a top-down shooter game with vicious, fast-moving enemies and projectiles the player will have to dodge. So I challenge you to come up with a small, nimble-looking player character that will look really good moving fast. But this is of course just a suggestion, and you can make whatever you like for your hero. Lastly, and actually the most important tip, is to have fun. Creating games, worlds, characters is awesome. As game creators, we're making experiences. Some crazy and just plain fun others emotional and epic. Enjoy the process. If you're feeling burned out or really demotivated, take a break and then come back refreshed and happy, ready to create and bring your world to life. That enthusiasm and joy while creating will show in your work, and people will love what you make all the more. And of course, if your sketches are all ugly and bland at first, don't bother about it. Drawing and game dev is awesome, but of course very hard. Your main objective as a beginner is not to make breathtaking masterpieces, but to have the best time possible. To have fun and enjoy the creative process, because having a good time will guarantee you keep creating and as a result improving. With that said, I'll see you in the next video where we'll paint the player character. Okay, cheers!